Abusua yɛbɛma akɔ abasronko so ɛdeba Ghana politics Afenyo so abusua yɛmbɔnra yɛnsɛm Felix Ofosu-Kwakye ɛde nsɛm bi aba bɛto dwa ɛne nsɛm ɔde ba bɛto dwa no ama Ghana Bar Association ɔmo ba bɛtake decision bi saa decision no ɔmo ba bɛtake no Alexander Kwame na Afenyo Markin abusua wayɛ very hot wayɛ very hot a abusua ɛnyɛ asɛm ketewa kra ɔde nsɛm bi bɛto dwa abrɔnyɛ DC abrɔnyɛ no odi n'anim a ɔbɛsan so ɛdi n'akyi. And now my brother DC, the reminder or 2 weeks reminder, High Court judges for no, the man, Abusia, Emma, NPP minority leader, Alexander Kwame Afenyo Markin. So also a by a true hot fire, a top hierarchy of the judiciary, Chief Justice Paul Bafuboni. Okay, can't somebody be brave. Chief Justice na enyen sema or no Afenyo Markins as a lawyer. Obien anokra edeka and also abuse a judge or mother ruling no against Abronya DC or say enyadia obebusa judge ni biuda na judge no onsu no opa on citing for contempt a ho ena or they call attack Paul Bafuboni as the Chief Justice of the Judiciary and some bebre ena eboba insa and some way Afenyo Markin said it to dano ama pressure mount on Ghana Bar Association say immediately Omon take quick action na omon fam punish Afenyo Markins. Ne nyoma oye no. Afenyo Markins oye under Ghana Bar Association and ono as a lawyer no. Sisi ano Ghana Bar Association eba be take quick action over the punish Afenyo Markins over and I say on attacking a judiciary and I say circuit court judge ebusuya sisi Afenyo Markins ama sisi a oje ne ho ba bia enye. Momi yanko na yanko kuti ensema. Of course, unsubscribe here, subscribe and hit say on the notification bells and any updates be a drop, you know, on so on sa to me. I can be a Ghana Politics Afenyo.
Inti endano your fair in relation to a post you made about an hour ago, also I have long dismissed the Ghana Bar Association as an MPP grouping. If it were not so, the intolerable abuse of this judge by the minority leader would have elicited an immediate, uncompromising response. They have been known to respond quickly to far less offensive commentary by non-NPP members. Alas, one of their own, an MPP lawyer, has abused a judge, so they have been loudly silent. What insufferable duplicity. Honorable Nawe, Muamu MPP and DC politics now will transfer the Ako GBA for us.
Oh, yes. Now, we know, we say, as somebody a can, no more kind this MPP woman. That's what I'm about to say. Obedient to me, can MPP in this woman in Yiji. Because, and you can go back. Say, ye can't amanukua. I suffer historical judicial hostility at NDC. Let me have 30 different examples of things. Now we name it. And yes, I producing a better here. There's no political party that has benefited from judicial bias as in MPP. At least since the year 2000 and now 2001, when they have done everything to skew judicial pronouncements in their favor. Yeah, NDC4, we've endured it all this while. Almost here, Bemun and Sayano. Can't be a few more tends to create the impression that suddenly the entire judicial system necessary and that assembly comma or more, it simply means they say particular judges are politicians in Timomoyaka. I thought you know me, I am on record. Some particular case involving Abronye. I am on record to have publicly disagreed with the judge. Abra judge ruling say, and there was a portion of the judge ruling, or can say Abronye is not equal to others, and after or say some people are more equal than others. I publicly said that was a very bizarre pronouncement. Any message na it's a very own Abronye. In fact, the case and Abronye probably did the matter. But I still insisted that the judge had not treated Abronye fairly, despite all the political disagreements. I have also said, me, as far as I'm concerned, that Odin Kasemwa a day you never bread judge be, and I said a better change judge life, and now a day basabasa yet. Now after two Yasron Re Asia, Nipano, and if you could not put an answer, that is my belief. I'm very liberal on that principle. If I won't support anybody being sent to jail for merely criticizing a system, either judicial, executive, or legislative. But there's a difference between disagreeing with a judge, pointing out aspects of law, which is a judge, when this so, and I say, judge, what from, and I am rare, and then one fine year, Juma, and I say, where you attention, and directly abusing a judge in a manner that Honorable Afenyo Markin did. And indeed, Honorable Afenyo Markin, and I've told him that he went way too far in his kind, because apart from having the freedom to criticize the judge, there's a recourse. You can go to a superior court to set aside judge and audience. Lawyer.
That's true.
And it has been done many, many times in Ghana. But to set a judge aside, single him out, and say you disrespect him, you disrespect, that is way too much. That is frontal abuse of a particular judge. Now, the MOA say, Ghana Bar Association, for many years, position I'm to memo. I've heard it many times. And that's the first time, and I'll continue to say it. Okay? This is an association in 2008.
Asempa FM.
The president, and if you knew some if you could not so, because he criticized the judge who jailed Chachikata. For criticizing the judge for jailing Chachikata, almost two president at DSO. There's a mama. There were many instances in the opposition. They criticized the judiciary. They were quick to come out to denounce him. In fact, in one instance there, almost on a platform, Emma both Attorney General Gofedami, any President Akufo-Addo, Emma attacking President Mahama for expressing disquiet about judicial outcomes. Yet, as someone Afenyo Markin totally abusing the judge, Mama Komanuatu. They remain silent, deathly silent, as someone says. Uyasana, you are abusing public confidence in the association, because for many years, the posture they've adopted, they say, first of all, they defend the judiciary, and I feel so matters relating to human rights violations that they are so omukendi.
Yes.
In fact, about 30 years ago, Greater Accra Regional Branch of Ghana Bar Association, lawyers at Greater Accra, they withdrew their services because the Supreme Court held one of their members in contempt for attacking the judiciary. They've done all of this in the past. Yet, by people also they are not common to see no evil, hear no evil, say no evil. If I say what they have done is unprincipled, and that they need to be called out. See a man, no clear that one. The the way the Ghana Bar Association operates is not fair, it's not balanced. If they are a partisan association, so then there's no public expectation of them to perform any function beyond supporting the MPP. But things will go back. I can't send the and Tampana no be a thing. I can say to any panel, I condemn. But when it involves the MPP, no more to they drag their feet. Okay, Obi, I told me as I know. That narrative and MPP before they back and try to create the impression that suddenly there's some abuse of freedoms and that the judiciary suddenly is in bed with the NDC. No, I didn't want to go back to record these instances. But MPP, Afenyo Markin, no Martin in our common. What did they not do to people who express themselves under MPP? Bobi Ansa used to host program now. Who hosts this year?
Yes.
In 2021 or 2022, Bobi Ansa Koka say, then First Lady, Mrs. Rebecca Akufo-Addo, and Vice President at the time, Spamia Baumia, Omakwaje Asasibu or Cantonment Sahano Mudi Sidani. Because of that, Bobi Ansa was picked up and taken to court. Make us say the matter is still in court. The matter is still in court. Tell me bongo ideas.
Minimum.
Abraham Tebi or what with that?
Sure.
Okay, can't some. Or can't send the family, Mrs. Rebecca Akufo-Addo. They didn't take him to court. They kidnapped him for days. State security, they kidnapped him for days for saying something about the First Lady at the time. Mensa Thompson. Or can't say on Mampinima at the presidential jet, a 2 coin. I don't know, Oman ko so ni mutwetwe. Anko sha ban kukum. And I could go on and on and on and on for the things that they did to people who express views in this country. How is it that suddenly, almost the same and Rana, then suddenly they are insulting and attacking judges? Okay, Obi, were they not sentenced to 4 months imprisonment for abusing judges?
Yes.
For abusing judges. So, the owner of Radio Good at the time, Mr. Atuahwe, and now on the there, he didn't even know who was appearing on his program that day. You buy one for a fine of 30,000 cities because of some of the radio stations. And yet, before no both say, say, Adia, court near at the papa. Did they not jubilate over it? Among condemned those of us who insisted, say, the sentence was a bit excessive. Among condemned. If no clearing and young people complain, tell the question and other part. Me, I've told you, say, I don't believe to be cast some effort to need more. That necessarily should lead to prosecution and after imprisonment, unless it breaches the peace and after it threatens the life of the individual concerned. But can young people say same? What is their position? Last week was about my issue statement. Claiming say free speech is being criminalized. And I'm a Abra Nigeria, Obi Khan, Nigeria, once a more. Yachi Nipano, make us say, assembly work courts will be answered. What was Dr. Banuel's position? Sabi Oka, yes, so, in all fairness and honesty, can you say, said the before can a genuine man? So, we need to be fair. But now, more journalists, I say, I tell you by an NBC, not any NBC MPP assembly. Okay? I think Markin is all complaining. Did you not file a case and within 2 hours, the full panel of the Supreme Court was assembled? Can't mediate in Ghana. Are there no cases? Aqua Quarter, we in the NDC have expressed reservations about them. And before it still say it was right. So for as long as courts rule, there will be disagreements. But nobody can frontally disrespect a judge in the manner that Afenyo Martin did. Ghana Bar Association, they cannot not too. Because there are people in society here, they have less responsibility. Someone a work from Afenyo who have been punished. Say, or he never ban or represent our XYZ TV. Or can say, Nana Akufo-Addo appointed Supreme Court to the MPP for. But Fedame cited him for contempt at the High Court. I mean, it need to wait 14 days, 2 weeks. Obi, I can't make a boy.
Yeah, but Honorable, I mean, all the instances now, one manner. There were instances at the NDC that in opposition complained about, based on which the NDC promised to reset this country. Resetting, in my understanding, means you do something materially different from what you complained about. If you do the same things and I reset, now or justification is MPP for also that is some way. And
Obi, Attorney General was Domitayini, or the Biokuna Court, prosecuting to send a Gofedame, for saying anything against the judiciary. Say about power.
No, sir, Attorney General delegated power, so the Biama police and the police are prosecuting people.
Question. But you see,
yes,
a judge, the assembly, not the judge rules, president of the country, Attorney General, cannot say, said my judge and for say, willing say, in a Abonye case, no, the prosecution actually opposed one of the denials of bail, sir. And yet the judge went ahead to remand Abonye. So you must speak to that. So that it doesn't create the impression, say, yeah, the MPP before, no. There are instances also where members of the public have complained about what some have said about them. There's an instance of a journalist, of a BB, a former NCA board chairman, only a member of this government went to complain, and then the police took the person to court. But it will be announced, and I said it will be broadcast to say the police have taken somebody to court. It was not at the instance of government. So we must also limit anytime you do courts on anything they say, I take the trouble to find out what has happened. And almost 90% of the time, it has nothing to do with government. Like I don't believe that anybody should be taken to court for anything they say. But we must look into the matter separately and not be quick to lump parties together to make excuses for misconduct.
Yeah, but the challenge is from the instances you refer to under the NPP, you know, most of those instances, the police that made arrests, the police prepared charge sheet and for echo court. They could also have argued, say it had nothing to do with government, because police for charge sheet, Omunina referred to Section 208 of Act 29, Omu referred to the section in the Electronic Communications Act, which some have even argued, say, under a reset, we should be even talking about how do we get those things out of our statute books. That conversation is not even being had.
That is fine. We can have that conversation.
Yes.
But when the first lady, second lady, now the case is pending now. Can the vice president, whose wife was the beneficiary of that action, come and condemn the same judiciary for holding somebody for saying something? No. So, I don't think America was the question is just political posturing. And yes, MP before Mujidomu candidate. But I know that in Kenya, the material issue of the minority that may reason. Who can tell me, say, what I have said is not fair? Based on what the GBA has done in this country. Obi, there's even an association of judges and magistrates.
Yeah, there is.
Meaning, what I said, there was a time, Dr. Kwameji of blessed memory, no, NDC chairman. By no can say, there are several ways to kill a cat.
To kill a cat, yes.
Idiomatic expression, can be everyday expression. For saying that, both the GBA and the Association of Judges and Magistrates publicly condemned him. So, if the GBA is criticized for keeping quiet about this instant case, is it a fair criticism or not?
No, it is. It is fair, except to say, sir, the same GBA. Okay, you are calling on the GBA to criticize him because Afenyo Markin is a member of the GBA, right?
It is not just that. There are people among young members of the GBA. GBA has condemned them for saying things about the judiciary. Afenyo, apart from the fact, so yeah, GBA members, as a minority leader, a very prominent person in Ghanaian society. Into the level of responsibility expected of him is much higher than some of the journalists, Abúsè, Contempt about judiciary, who have actually been punished by the same judiciary. So it is not just because of his membership, but the fact that this one is a clear affront to the judiciary.
Yeah, but would that not be you inviting pressure onto the GBA when you know very well, sir? Even at time amumu opposition, no, enye insema amusumo kafa judge for whom you na GBA eba condemn here. This thing about unanimous 11 or say unanimous 7, Obi a women's organizer, Osno Mame, it came from leading members of your party. The GBA did not condemn.
Obi, with leading members. You see, look on social media now. There are so many things that NPP followers are saying. You cannot hold the NPP for it. However, if Dr. Bamiaka, minority leader, and office holders of the NPP can, it becomes a position of the party that you can hold on to. So, Obi control unanimous FCR. The GDA cannot go about speaking to everything, written everywhere. But it depends on who has said it. In this instance, we are talking a minority leader. No small, minority leader.
Okay.
A leader of parliament. I was also a prominent member of the GBA or an officer of the court. And yet, up to now, wouldn't. So there must be consistency. So I need to say, that's all I'm calling for.
Very well. Felix,
but after the fact that people should be able to express themselves freely, me, I endorse it fully, but kind of publicly. In fact, if the one you mean, go back. What can I say, John? I think 2012 or so, after elections,
yeah,
he was heard before the Supreme Court. And so, I cannot repeat it here. After that, I think his sentence was commuted, and I said he was pardoned. If I'm not mistaken, even though he was convicted.
Yes, he was. He was pardoned.
Yes. I publicly said so. I didn't think that it was necessary. for us to go that last. I said so. Then that position in terms of free speech.
No. To be fair to you, yes, you've been consistent in that position.
Yes,
but
so
I'm
calling for consistency on the part of those who expressed disquiet in the past.
But I think one thing you also can do now that you are in a position of power is to probably initiate conversations around what do we do with Section 208, which is still in our statute books. Because at the end of the day, as long as it is there, the police is empowered to enforce same.
Even the entire Constitution of Ghana is undergoing amendment. In fact, last week, I announced that Cabinet was considering the draft position paper.
Committee. Okay.
In fact, many can say we've done the first part, but the laws will be engineering. That's also in the weeks coming. So, as for amendments of laws, if it ever becomes an issue, then repeal these two sections. Me personally, I will not be opposed to it.
Very well.
It doesn't mean say there will not be safeguards to ensure say, for instance, people say we are Kenya, Faba, Nafoku, Kenya, I don't know say you can't tolerate it.
And they were across the line, yes.
So maybe it is in those instances that we take action. But anything below that will express an opinion, whether harshly or mildly, about the working of an arm of government and a public official there, I think it should pass. That is my personal view. And I've said it publicly. I've also said it privately for those who know me.
Very well.
Okay, Abusua, when and some a course or political highway. So I have Felix Fosu Kwache and I attend and Kase, or this are and seminal Etuga, or during NPP tenure, NDC in opposition. This is MB Omwano, Anka, a court ruling being immediately Ghana Bar Association, or maybe Babontin, and no Baby release the statement. Intino, what other Ghana Bar Association say, a yes, the due process no, a tunaquem, and yes, Afenyo Markin, no, or Marcus baby dinner fire, but I must have some Japanese and some way at my aha, a Ghana politics avenue, so, Madam Master.